Well, you've all heard of the one ring to rule them all. Today on Finding Traction, we are going to talk about the one rule to rule them all. Welcome aboard.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, I'm not really a big Lord of the Rings fan. I know that's going to really bother some of you, purists and all that, but I think that's the phrase, one ring to rule them all. And I just wanted to, again, put the recording on and talk about something that came up last night in group. And this whole idea of, well, first of all, let me just not apologize, but just say I've been rather remiss in getting out podcasts. I get a few faithful people going, hey, where's your podcast? I'm going, it's summertime, I'm in summer mode. So that's partly the reason why I've been in summer mode. But occasionally I get inspired. And that's kind of been the last few podcasts. It's just been an inspiring idea that I had or a pressing thought that I wanted to talk about. And let me just say, I have been living out my last few podcasts that talk about passion and re-engaging with some of those things that give you joy, your 6-year-old self kind of thing. So if you've been listening to the last few podcasts, some of those ideas will stick in your mind. And I have been doing those things, which is why I've not been doing my podcast. So this last week, me and my wife went to see my favorite band. You might not have heard of them. They're a Canadian staple. They're called Blue Rodeo. And we went and saw them at the PNE, and beautiful night in Vancouver. And they played all of our favorite songs, Head Over Heels, Bad Timing, 5 Days in May, Try, all of my favorite Blue Rodeo songs. So we had a wonderful night doing that. You can tell music's something really big on my radar, big on my passion radar. We also we're bringing in a singer-songwriter, Josh Hislop, and I'm organizing a concert for this coming week, and invited a bunch of my friends and anybody else that wants to come. And so we're doing a concert here in Chilliwack, and so that's going to be fun. That's another one that I've been looking forward to, and then also a third musical thing of my passion is I was having lunch, me and my wife, with my brother and sister-in-law, and we were talking about going out to the concert, and we looked up and saw that two other old favorites of ours were also coming and doing an outdoor concert in Vancouver. So in about 2 weeks, me and my older brother are going to see a guy called Randy Bachman. Now, again, a bit of a history lesson for you younger guys. Randy Bachman was the lead guitarist and singer for BTO. That was probably the most well-known song is Taking Care of Business, which I think became a Staples ad. But, Taking Care of Business was a big song. That was from BTO. And but before Randy Bachman started BTO, he was in another band, another Canadian band, and that band was called the Guess Who. You might be familiar with one of the songs, American Woman. It's since been redone by Lenny Kravitz. But Randy Bachman was in another band. Like I say, it was called the Guess Who. And the lead singer in that band was Burton Cummings. And so Randy Bachman and Burton Cummings are doing an outdoor concert in Vancouver. September 3rd. So we're really excited. I haven't done anything with my brother for years and years and years. So I'm just thrilled that me and my brother get to go and hang out. It'd be a good connection time. And anyway, so those are a couple passion things. So that's one area of passion. So I do listen to my podcasts, and I do try to do what I advise. The second big area of passion is, of course, the coming football season, the 2022-2023 NFL season. And I have been faithfully reading up on my teams, doing my homework, getting into inductive football studies. And I am going to be doing here next week, me and Matt Dobschutz and a third guy are going to be doing our now annual upcoming football season arguments and prognostications. So we'll be doing some of that in a coming episode. So, and if you don't like NFL football, well, you're dead to me. So no, you're not dead to me. You just won't like that podcast. So deal with it. So there you go. Okay, so yes, I do try to listen and to talking about passions. I was actually talking to a guy this morning from Los Angeles that it was a new guy to one of my groups, and we were talking about this question. He said, I realize at times it's not like I have a porn problem. I have a life problem. Yes, porn is a part of that, but part of the reason I have a porn problem is because I have a life problem. And, some of those, some of the common words that I hear around people struggling with porn are words like aimless, procrastination, listless, drifting, bored, and which is kind of a life problem description, as opposed to people who are engaged or excited or passionate. I hear those words far, far less than words which are kind of, around, I'm just drifting, I'm putting things off, I'm not doing things I should be doing, those kind of things. So it is interesting, when we move more into the kind of life we want. It's not that porn completely takes care of itself, because there's tools and, things that we still need to know, but it does really put things in proper perspective. So let's go and talk a little bit about this claim I made, one rule to rule them all. And this came out of last night. I was leading a group, and we were talking about our plans. We were talking about some of the porn-free plans that we have, and where we felt good about our plans, where we felt our plans were failing us, or that they needed to be shored up, kind of like a dike analogy. And it was interesting as we went around, and everyone kind of shared about where they felt good about how their recovery plan was going, and where they didn't feel good about it. Everyone came down to this concept around connection. And it came up over and over and over again. And it got me thinking by the end of, the group and listening to all of the guys, I couldn't help but be struck with this idea. There really is one principle that seems to be important above all. Now, to introduce this concept, which is really not any kind of a new concept, I want you to think of an AA in an AA perspective. If you're familiar with some of the advice or suggestions that's given to somebody who struggles with alcoholism, a problem drinker, and they go to their first group, they get to the point where they go, okay, I've got to make a change in my life. I now realize that drinking is an embedded problem and I've got to change. And then they show up at a meeting and they probably hear an old timer say something like this: "Sonny boy, you've got to look at going to 60 meetings in 60 days." And when somebody hears that, they probably go, "Excuse me? I just came to this meeting, and I expected that." I was hoping that would take care of it, but I'm thinking of maybe coming to a few more meetings. But why would I consider going to 60 meetings in 60 days? Well, the point is this: if you struggle with drinking, with alcohol, you are going to, every day when you start out, it is going to feel so difficult. You are going to feel so wobbly and so unstable that the only way you are going to be able to make a major life correction around your drinking is if you put rebar down, in your foundation, and do something like 60 meetings in 60 days. So you actually allow time for a new habit to develop. I like that idea of rebar too. If you watch people pouring cement, and I just, when I built the tower, I call it the Tomke Tower out back of our house for my daughter and son-in-law. We didn't just put a foundation, then we laid a bunch of rebar down, because the rebar, of course, if you're a builder, it provides strength to the foundation. Well, every one of those meetings is like rebar, and it provides strength. So when the ground settles, when any shaking happens, it doesn't just crack. So that's in a drinking or AA context, this over-the-top idea of 60 meetings in 60 days. To just deal with the crazies that are going to happen, the cravings that are going to happen. And if you're in 60 meetings for 60 days, then you're going to have a chance to set a new trajectory for your life. Okay, so how does that apply to porn? How does that apply to porn recovery? Well, I'm going to cut it in half, but it's not going to sound a lot easier for you. Let me say this. If you have not managed to regularly experience 30 days of porn-free living, and I would put probably most of you listeners in that category. 30 days is a long time. And some of you are going, well, I feel like I can hit 3 days or a week, maybe 2 weeks, but 30 days is like a month. I'm just being candid here because so many guys, in our groups, we do check-ins all the time. And it's the minority of guys as they're starting out that have experienced that kind of even month-long sobriety. And if there was a rule that I would say, and I came out of group last night thinking, okay, I think it's time, and I'm not a big rule-based guy. I'm really into, by and large, helping guys come up with their own boundaries. I really am a firm believer as a coach to let guys not figure it out for themselves, but I'm not there to come over top of people, say you have to do this and you have to do this with your phone, you have to do this. I'm as a coach, I'm really trying to help people discover and work through what they need to do for their recovery. But if I was going to make a rule, which I'm going to make a rule right now, for the very first time, you've heard it here first in this whole idea of finding traction. Here is the rule. I want you to make 30 connections over the next 30 days. 30 reaching out to real people over the next 30 days. And until you are regularly experiencing at least 30 days of porn-free living. And if you're not, then I want you to start with that rule. I am going to call over the next 30 days, 30 people. You say, well, is that magically going to make me porn-free? No, but it's going to add a heck of a lot of rebar in your life, and it will be a big step forward. And I want you to continue that 30-day rule until you reach 30 days of porn-free living. Now, it might take you 6 months or 9 months, and you might be calling somebody every day for the next 9 months. But until you hit 30 days, that's your rule. That's the one rule to rule them all. And if you're not prepared to do that, now I'm going to, again, sound a little bit not like Vern here, but if you're not prepared to do that, then you're probably less likely that you're ever going to hit 30 days. You're probably destabilizing your chances of success. You say, 30 days. Okay, how am I going to find people to call every day? Now, let me just say, if the only thing you do is consume podcasts around porn, and I do talk to guys that say, you know what, for 3 years, all I did is listen to podcasts about porn, and then I got to a point where I was willing to start a group. If you're still in the listening to podcast stages, then you're really, you intuitively know, well, that's not really going to work for me now, is it? I mean, if I had one friend and I just felt I was calling him every day, he might get to a point going, dude, you need more friends. And you might instinctively think, I don't want to pressure my friend with that amount of neediness, if you could put it that way. And let me also say, if you're thinking that your girlfriend, fiance, wife is going to want to hear you for the next 30 days as your accountability partner, think again. That's not a good idea. So you're going, okay, well then, Houston, we have a problem here. And that's one of the reasons why I encourage people to get into a group. A lot of guys say, well, I've got buddies or guys, but, sometimes we talk about recovery, or sometimes it comes up and maybe I could talk to them about it. But, they're just my buddies, or we hang out or whatever. And you're right. You talk about lots of things. But when you're in a group of guys and your stated goal is to walk away from porn and towards the life and relationships you've always hoped for, when you're with a group of guys and that is your stated goal, you're really your only goal that you're together. I mean, I tell the guys, when I'm not interested in politics, religion, vaccines, the FBI, none of that stuff is what we're here for. We all have opinions on it, you name it. We're here for one thing. We're here to try to help each other become porn free. That's it. Now, we can develop connections outside of that, which I have. But, that's the real reason we're here. So I have no difficulty calling somebody up or connecting with somebody who is in my porn recovery group around porn recovery. That's why they're in the group. That's why I'm in the group. And so, we, that's the new rule. And I've said, and so we do our best to make it possible. So the groups I run, the Rev groups I run for Matt, all of those different things, what we do is, we have, first of all, everyone's got each other's phone numbers. Okay, that's place number one. It's so cool to get somebody who calls you. I try to make at least one call every day, and I've got a bunch of different groups, so I just kind of go through and pick one person out of the different groups and make a call. And oftentimes, oh, Vern's calling, that's kind of cool. Other times, I just get a message, a phone answering message, and going, okay. And I just leave something like, hey, it's Vern calling. Let's say it's Bob. Bob, hey, it's Vern calling. Just hope you're having a good day. Just kind of checking in. Day's going pretty good for me. Feeling pretty positive, but I got triggered this morning, let's say, and my wife's out right now, and I'm kind of, just wanted to call and kind of settle down my racing thoughts, and just wanted to let you know that. Looking forward to seeing you in group next time. Something like that, real simple. Now, obviously, if you get a hold of them, you can talk in a little more detail. So that how long did that take? 30, 45 seconds kind of thing. Other times, like I say, you get a hold of them. We also create in our groups, we have WhatsApp. And so guys are also checking in on WhatsApp, saying, hey, I'm struggling right now, or this is going on, or I just had a fight with my wife, or I just had a boss come down on me on a ton of bricks, thinking of acting out, and then somebody else can, that's another way we check in. So there's lots of ways. It's all about connection. Remember, the real core of the things we struggle with is isolation. And I know it's hard to reach out. Nate Larkin from the Pirate Monks, now this is a little dated now, but he talks about the 500-pound phone. Maybe it's like one of those early, cell phones you saw that are almost as big as the guy's head. Maybe it was 500 pounds, but it's not easy. But that's a place to start. If you were looking for one thing to do, which can kickstart your recovery, then I would strongly, strongly encourage you to follow this rule. I am going to make 30 connection calls in 30 days until I am 30 days porn free. And then I'm going to go from there. So I hope you're having a great summer. We've got a couple more weeks of before school starts. Everyone kind of kicks. I know some of you guys, your school has already started. People kind of kick into a new mode in September. We're nearing the end of August here, 2022. And if you're looking to get into a group, you're looking for some coaching, you're looking for someone just to give you some hope, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me at Band of Brothers, plural, bandofbrothers.care.gmail.com. And again, apparently it makes a difference if you rate this podcast or you leave a response. I'm always, one of my very first questions when people contact me is, hey, how did you hear about what I'm doing, what I'm up to? And they usually talk about finding it through a podcast search or something like that. So anyways, here's towards connecting with one another. And I hope you have a great day and you add lots of rebar into your life. We'll talk next time.